I tend to think it's any exercise or movement, but the way I kind of direct people in that is to say the thing that you enjoy the most. Research is showing us that it's not specific. It doesn't have to be this one thing, or usually if somebody is telling you I know the perfect exercise, they're a charlatan. You need to kind of turn and run from their care probably. But if it's something that you enjoy doing, that can be the biggest benefit. Just starting engaging slow and in a way that makes you feel good, and that you're working on something that you're doing something successful in your mind, is really how I lean people.
So to tack on to that, I often talk about joy, and so many people are pulled immediately from the things that they love, like right away when they have pain or injury. And it's invaluable to get somebody in to my clinic space and say, well, what do you love? And they're like, well, I did love this, but I had to stop doing that. And for me to say, what are ways that we can actually just let you do that? And those are those big moments that you get somebody in there and you say, you're allowed to do this because you've decided you want to, and I'm going to help show you how to get there. So finding joy. So we know that movement and exercise release good chemicals in our brain that make us feel good and decrease pain. And they're some of the strongest drugs we have in our whole system is in our body. So as it pertains to joy, it's almost like there's just positive effects from feeling joy in and of itself, and from getting the reward of doing what you love right away. So you create those physiological changes by then suddenly realizing, oh, I can still do that. And then that reinforces, and it becomes a positive slippery slope in a way. You can just start to grow on that. If you have back pain, one of the first things that our bodies do when we have back pain is brace and get tight. It's kind of like making a really tight fist and then trying to move around. It doesn't work very well and doesn't also feel very good. So one of the best ways to start to work around living with back pain is to move, and to move freely. And core strengthening only contributes more to that bracing and tightness and stiffness. The way that I typically tend to talk about stretching is that a lot of times people are overstretching their tissues because they think if I'm really aggressive with stretching this tissue, I'm going to release something and that's going to make me more flexible and more mobile. And I think there's nothing wrong with stretching. You can stretch if that feels good to you, but I tend to go of the mindset of like tender loving care. Be really nice to yourself when you're moving your body in that capacity. Should feel really just good.
No, I don't believe tight hamstrings or tight muscles are what's causing your back pain. It's not that singular. Our goal is to find the singular answer, but it doesn't exist that way. So if you feel tight and stretching makes you feel good, then great. But to think that by stretching that's going to solve your problem alone, we need to broaden that thought process. We're sort of obsessed with that feeling of tension. It's like back pain is tension. And so we think stretching is the only way to reduce tension, but there's many different ways to reduce tension. And one is to relax, right? One is to do things that make you feel great, and that could be sitting around and watching a movie and feeling more comfortable about it. The other is to not brace your core and just relax with movement. Strengthening actually results in less tension sometimes as well. And that can be lifting heavy weights on and off the ground, or it could be just as simple as trying to carry your groceries into your house instead of not. So there's so many different ways, and we just need to explore those, I think, instead of thinking, hey, you got back pain? No, it's just your hamstrings, that's why. It just seems too deductive to me.
Yeah, it's really safe to lift weights. In my experience, lifting weights and helping patients learn how to do that in an exploratory way that doesn't make them feel like it's dangerous has been some of the most rewarding for them. Lifting weights gives you a sense of power and accomplishment that you might not be able to feel otherwise. So you just start. That's the first step, is just starting. I think that we know pretty confidently that you want to build up to certain loads. So if you haven't been preparing to do those things, you just start light and something that's comfortable for you and build up from there.